Draft season is here, and if you want to leave your league in the dust, you need a plan. Not just a rankings list, a round-by-round blueprint for fantasy football domination. Today, I'm walking you through every key round of your 2025 fantasy draft and telling you exactly which running backs are worth your pick and which ones are overpriced landmines ready to nuke your season. If you want to crush your draft and run the table, it all starts here. These are the only running backs you need to draft in 2025, round by round. Let's break it down. Starting in round one, where we see Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Ashton Jeanty typically being drafted. Now, of course, Barkley and Bijan are great. Take them, don't even think about it. Now, I will say with Gibbs and Jeanty, it's a little tricky for me. I like these guys. I think they're going to be great, but I prefer to get them both at the end of the first round. A lot of times, Jeanty will go towards the end of the first round, which I'm okay with. He's going to be the workhorse running back for the Raiders, in line for a ton of touches. No issues with that. Gibbs a little tricky here. He typically goes top 5, and I just think that's a little too high for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think a lot of people are forgetting the Monty Gibbs split that we saw last year. Yes, Gibbs was still very good with David Montgomery healthy, but not nearly to the extent he was when David Montgomery was out. I think Gibbs, again, another guy I'd prefer to get in the back half of round one. If I have to take him top 5, I'm probably passing and taking one of those high-end wide receivers instead. Now in round 2, we see Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, Jonathan Taylor, and Bucky Irving. I'm pretty much okay with all of these running backs except Bucky, but I'll get to him in a second. I mean, Henry, Achane, Jonathan Taylor, these guys are studs. No competition for touches. Nothing really to worry about here. Christian McCaffrey, if you've been watching me, you know how I feel. I think you have to take Christian McCaffrey in the second round. The upside is too great. Yes, I know the risk, but if this guy had been fully healthy last year, he'd be a no doubt top 5 pick this year. This is just too much upside to pass on in the second round. Now for Bucky Irving. I'm a little nervous about Bucky here. I feel like people are a little too excited. Yeah, he was great last year, no doubt about it, but he was one of the most efficient running backs. That efficiency is hard to maintain year over year. We saw that with Achane last year. His efficiency dropped a ton, but he made up for it with all that pass catching. Bucky doesn't give you a ton of pass catching. Rachaad White is still there. So I am nervous that Bucky Irving, if he falls back down to earth and just has a good or normal efficiency year, that you're going to regret this pick. I don't think Bucky Irving is going to be a massive bust like Etienne last year, but I think this is a bit of a trap. I'm not taking him in round 2. Now on to round 3, where we see Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Kyren Williams, Breece Hall, James Cook, and Omarion Hampton. I'm going to start by saying if I'm in this round and Josh Jacobs and Chase Brown are still on the board, I'm almost always taking these guys. These are proven workhorse running backs in elite offenses that have minimal to no competition for touches. In round 3, absolute steals. I also like Kyren Williams and James Cook in this round. I don't feel as strongly about them as Jacobs and Chase Brown. There is some talk the Rams might go to more of a committee. I'll believe it when I see it. And we know James Cook not going to be a workhorse in that offense and Josh Allen going to take a ton of touches. But both of these guys have running back 1 upside. I'll take that value in round 3. Then there's Breece Hall and Omarion Hampton. I mean, Breece Hall should be a smash in this round, but man, we're hearing a lot of talk from new head coach Aaron Glenn like that he doesn't like Breece Hall or something, that we're going to see a committee here. So I'm not completely out on Breece Hall, but if there are players I like more, I'm fine passing on him here. And I feel the same about rookie Hampton. Yeah, I like Hampton, but let's not forget Najee Harris is there, and I think Najee Harris will be at least annoyingly good enough to keep this more of a 50-50 than most people would like. I feel like third round for Hampton, just a little too early. Again, if I don't like anybody else on the board, sure, I'll take them. But if there's other players I like, I'm okay passing on them. And if you can't wait for your fantasy football league and you want to start drafting right now, you need to check out UnderdogFantasy.com. They have best ball drafts going on from now all the way up to the start of the season, including their flagship Best Ball Mania 6, which is going to make multiple millionaires in 2025. But they have drafts ranging from as low as $3 all the way up to $1,000, so wherever you're at. Just go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you join using promo code ENDGAME, because not only is that going to get you a free pick that you can use right away, but also up to $1,000 in bonus cash that you can use to draft all offseason long. Now on to round 4, we get an interesting mix of running backs here. Joe Mixon, RJ Harvey, Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, Travion Henderson. So 3 vets, 2 rookies. Let me start by saying the absolute smash pick here for me almost every single time is Kenneth Walker. If you watch my Breakout Running Back 1 video, I broke it all down, but I think Kenneth Walker is set for a huge year this year. I think Joe Mixon is fine here. We know what Joe Mixon is going to be at this point. He's probably going to be great early in the season, kind of tail off down the stretch, but he's a workhorse in a good offense. Fine with him here. I also really like the rookies, but I also understand there's some risk with these rookies. RJ Harvey, I mean, yeah, if he's the workhorse in Denver, this is going to be a smash pick, so I'm going to take chances on him. And I do think there's opportunity for TreVeyon Henderson to take on a bigger role in that backfield, and he's an explosive running back. So I want to take chances on him too, but I don't feel like these guys are must drafts. And then finally, Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, I'm not drafting Chuba Hubbard here. I mean, last year he was great. He was pretty much the guy, but they've signed Rico Dowdle. They drafted Trevor Etienne. I think this is going to be more of a committee than people expect. I don't want to draft a committee back in round 4. Now into round 5, we see 3 crusty vets and a rookie. We got Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Quinshon Judkins, and David Montgomery. Let's start with the 3 vets. I think these guys are all great values. I mean, Alvin Kamara keeps chugging along, catching passes, no real threat to his workload here. James Conner, the Cardinals did nothing at running back, so we're probably going to see more of James Conner. It just comes down to how healthy can this guy be, but if he's healthy, he's been great. And we know what David Montgomery is. He's a touchdown machine in this offense. Fine with any of these guys here. Judkins, on the other hand, I think this is too risky. I was all in on Judkins after the Browns took him early in day 2, but then they drafted Dylan Sampson, who I also really like, who I think can push Judkins for touches. Not to mention, this Browns offense probably not going to be very good, and he's not going to catch a lot of passes. So 5th round, I'd rather take one of the crusty vets and pass on the rookie here. Round 6, we only see 2 running backs. That's Caleb Johnson, rookie in Pittsburgh, and Tony Pollard. I made an entire video on Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard is a fantastic value. I'm definitely drafting Tony Pollard here. I also like Caleb Johnson. Yeah, there's big time worries for this Steelers offense, but he's going to be the lead back. He's going to have that Najee role with a good offensive line in an offense that wants to run the football. Yeah, he's not going to be a league winner or anything, but he's probably going to be a high-end RB2, so I'm fine with both these guys. Now in round 7, we get DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Isaiah Pacheco. So I'll say right off the bat, DeAndre Swift has somehow landed in a perfect spot. Ben Johnson, upgraded the offensive line, no competition for touches. Yeah, all in on DeAndre Swift. Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., they're fine. If I need a running back here, I think they'll be suitable RB2s, but probably not more than that. And then there's Pacheco. Talked about him on that breakout video as well. This is the boom bust pick right here. This guy could either be terrible or great, probably no in between. So really it's going to come down to how my draft is going here, how I'm feeling. If I feel secure at the other positions and I'm willing to take on the risk, sure. But I don't feel like Pacheco is a guy you have to draft. If you're too scared to take him, totally understandable. Fine with passing on Pacheco here. Now into round 8, and we get both Giants running backs, Cam Skattebo and Tyrone Tracy, also Jaylen Warren, Jordan Mason. All right, let me start by saying, why are we still doing this with Jaylen Warren? What are we expecting from Jaylen Warren at this point? Look, it's not going to happen. He'll be fine. He'll have a few flex weeks, but that's about it. They drafted Caleb Johnson. No thanks to Jaylen Warren. Jordan Mason, okay, sure. He's fine. Whatever. Maybe a split with Aaron Jones. He's got upside if Jones goes down. You want to take him? Do it. You don't? Totally fine with that too. Now let's talk about the Giants running backs. This is where it gets interesting. You got the rookie Cam Skattebo. You got the incumbent Tyrone Tracy. But remember, Tyrone Tracy wasn't even that good last year. He's like 25 years old. He fumbled the ball repeatedly. Skattebo is a good running back, and I think he's going to take this job sooner rather than later. I am not drafting Tracy here, but I'm definitely taking Skattebo. And now I'm not going to keep going round by round from here. We're outside the top 100 picks, but I do want to give you a few late round sleepers that I haven't talked about yet. Let's start with Bashal Tutin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Love this landing spot here. I think he can take over that Etienne role, the change of pace, pass catching back. He's like Devon Achane. He's one of these guys that, does not need a ton of touches. Anytime the ball is in his hand, he could take it to the house. A true weapon in the screen game. I think this guy could be an absolute monster in PPR leagues down the stretch. And then I also think Rachaad White is a great value. Talked about Bucky Irving, a little nervous about him. Rachaad White's still going to be the pass-catching back here. He's still an elite pass-catching back, so I'll take shots on him late in my drafts for sure for that pass-catching upside. Not to mention, if something does happen to Bucky Irving, we know Rachaad White's going to be the guy. And then finally, old reliable Austin Eckler. No, he's not the same guy he was when he was ripping off, RB1, RB2 seasons, but he was still usable last week when he's on the field. He's the pass catching back here. The Commanders did nothing in this running back room to scare me off Austin Eckler. He's once again going to be a late round value. He gives you that flex appeal when you need him, those bye week fill-ins. A great running back to have on your bench in your fantasy leagues. So now you know the only running backs that you need to draft in 2025, but that's not the only thing you need to win. Stick with us all off season long. We got videos dropping all the time to help you dominate your fantasy drafts, and you can find them in our playlist right here.